What happens when a morning television interview goes from friendly chat to complete disaster in front of millions of viewers? In just 35 seconds, one comment turns a simple conversation into the most shocking moment in morning TV history. Good Morning America's bright studio lights are shining. The cameras are rolling. Lara Spencer sits across from her guest, ready for what should be an easy, pleasant interview. But what starts as small talk quickly becomes something nobody saw coming. Lara opens with a warm smile. "Welcome to the show. We're so excited to have you here this morning. I know our viewers have been looking forward to this." The guest settles into her chair, already looking uncomfortable. "Thank you for having me, I suppose." That response catches Lara off guard. The tone is cold, distant, but Lara is a professional. She pushes forward. "So let's dive right in. You've been in the public eye for quite some time now. How are you handling everything?" The guest shifts in her seat. "Well, Lara, I think that's a rather simplistic question, don't you? My life is far more complex than you could possibly understand in a morning chat." The studio suddenly feels tense. Lara's smile falters for just a moment before she recovers. "Of course, I'd love to hear more about that complexity. That's why you're here, to share your perspective." "My perspective," the guest says, her voice rising slightly. "My perspective is that people like you sit here in your comfortable chairs and think you can analyze my life in 5-minute segments." Lara remains calm. Her years of experience are showing. "I'm not trying to analyze anything. I'm just hoping to have a conversation. Our viewers are curious about your experiences." "Your viewers?" The guest interrupts. "Let's talk about your viewers. Do they really care? Or are they just here for the spectacle, waiting for me to say something they can pick apart?" The producers in the control room are watching closely. This is not going according to plan. Lara can feel it too, but she keeps her composure. "I think our viewers genuinely want to hear from you. That's why we invited you here today." The guest leans forward. "You invited me here because I bring ratings. Let's not pretend this is about genuine interest." Lara takes a breath. "I understand you might be feeling defensive, but I promise you, that's not what this is about. Why don't we start over? Tell me about what you're working on right now." "Start over?" The guest's voice gets louder. "Why should I start over? Why should I make this easier for you?" The audience in the studio is completely silent. Every eye is locked on the two women. This is uncomfortable. This is awkward. This is riveting. Lara tries a different approach. "I hear you're frustrated. What would you like to talk about?" "What would I like to talk about?" The guest stands up slightly, then sits back down. "I'd like to talk about how the media twists everything. How people like you ask loaded questions and then act innocent." "I haven't asked any loaded questions," Lara says, her voice steady but firm. "I've asked you about your life and your work. That's what interviews are." "That's what interviews are," the guest mocks. "Do you hear yourself? You sit there with your perfect hair and your perfect smile and pretend you're my friend. But you're not my friend. You're just another person trying to get a story." The crew members are looking at each other. Should they cut to commercial? Should they keep rolling? Lara makes a subtle hand gesture. "Keep going." "I've never claimed to be your friend," Lara says clearly, "but I have been respectful. I'd appreciate the same courtesy." "Respectful?" The guest laughs, but there's no humor in it. "You want to talk about respect? Let me tell you about respect. Respect is not dragging someone onto your show and expecting them to perform like a trained animal. Nobody is asking you to perform," Lara responds. "We're having a conversation, or at least we're trying to." "Trying," the guest repeats. "The problem, Lara, is that you're not trying hard enough. Your questions are surface level, your interest is fake. This whole thing is fake." Lara's patience is being tested. "If you feel that way, I'm sorry, but I've been doing this job for many years, and I've interviewed countless people. Most of them managed to have a civil conversation." "Most of them," the guest says sharply. "Are you comparing me to other people now? Is that what this is?" "Because I'm not like other people you've had on this show." "I wasn't comparing you to anyone," Lara clarifies. "I was simply saying that an interview requires both people to participate." "Participate," the guest says. "You mean smile and nod and give you the sound bites you want? That's not participation, that's manipulation." The producers are now seriously considering stopping this, but Lara is handling it. She's a professional through and through. "I'm not manipulating anything," Lara states. "You agreed to come on this show. You knew what this was. If you didn't want to be here, you didn't have to accept the invitation." "Oh, so now it's my fault?" The guest's voice reaches a new level. Now you're blaming me for your terrible interview skills? That's the line. Lara's expression changes. She's done being patient. My interview skills are fine, Lara says, her tone cooler now. What's not fine is a guest who comes on this show and attacks me personally when I've done nothing but treat you with respect. Respect? The guest scoffs again. You keep using that word. I don't think you know what it means. I know exactly what it means, Lara replies. It means treating someone with basic courtesy. It means not insulting them when they're trying to have a professional conversation with you. The guest stands up this time, really stands up. Professional? You call this professional? This is a circus. You're the ringmaster, and you expected me to be the clown. Lara remains seated, but her voice is firm. Sit down, please. Don't tell me what to do, the guest snaps. I'm done being told what to do by people like you. People like me? Lara asks. What does that mean? It means people who think they're better than everyone else. People who sit in judgment. People who make a living off other people's lives. Lara stands now too. That's enough. I've been patient. I've been kind. I've tried to make this work. But you've been hostile from the moment you sat down. Hostile? The guest shouts. You haven't seen hostile yet. The security team is now on alert. The producers are signaling to Lara, this needs to end. I think we need to take a break, Lara says, looking directly at the camera. A break? The guest laughs again. You want to take a break? How convenient. When things get real, you just cut away. Things aren't getting real, Lara says. Things are getting inappropriate, and I won't have you speak to me this way on my show. Your show, the guest repeats. Everything is about you, isn't it? Your show, your questions, your reputation. This has nothing to do with my reputation, Lara counters. This has to do with basic decency. You've insulted me repeatedly. You've refused to engage in good faith, and now you're causing a scene. I'm causing a scene? The guest's voice is at its peak now. You brought me here. You started this. And now you're acting like I'm the problem. You are the problem, Lara says clearly. Right now, in this moment, you are the problem. And I'm asking you to either sit down and have a real conversation or leave. The studio goes silent. That ultimatum hangs in the air. Everyone is watching, waiting. Leave? The guest says quietly, dangerously. You're asking me to leave? I'm giving you a choice, Lara responds. We can continue this interview like adults, or we can end it right now. Guest takes a step closer to Lara. You don't get to give me choices. You don't get to control me. Security is moving closer now. Lara notices, but doesn't back down. I'm not trying to control you, Lara says. I'm trying to have a show. And you're disrupting it. Good, the guest says. Maybe your show needs to be disrupted. Maybe people need to see what really happens behind these fake smiles. There's nothing fake about my smile, Lara responds. What's fake is pretending you came here for any reason other than to cause drama. Drama? The guest shouts. You think I came here for drama? I came here because I was told this would be a fair interview, but there's nothing fair about this. What's not fair? Lara says, her voice rising to match. Is you attacking me when I've done nothing wrong. What's not fair is you disrupting my show and disrespecting my crew. What's not fair is you making a fool of yourself on national television. That last comment hits hard. The guest's face changes. A fool? You're calling me a fool? I'm saying you're acting foolish, Lara clarifies. There's a difference. No, the guest says. No difference at all. You just insulted me, in front of everyone. You've been insulting me for the past 10 minutes, Lara shoots back. So we're even. The guest picks up her microphone and pulls it off. We're not even close to even, but we're done here. Yes, Lara agrees. We are done here. The guest starts to walk off the set, but then turns back. You know what your problem is, Lara? You think you're untouchable. You think you can say whatever you want because you're the host. But you're not special. You're just another television personality who will be forgotten in 5 years. Lara doesn't flinch. And you're just another guest who couldn't handle a simple interview. I think we both know who's going to be forgotten here. The guest's mouth opens. She's about to say something else. Something cutting. Something final. But before she can speak, Lara turns to the camera. We're going to take a commercial break. When we come back, we'll have a very different guest. One who actually wants to be here. The guest makes a sound of disbelief. You're just going to move on? Like nothing happened? Something happened, Lara acknowledges. You happened, and now you're leaving. Goodbye. The finality in Lara's voice is unmistakable. The guest stands there for one more second, looking around at the crew, the audience, the cameras. Everyone is staring at her. Not with sympathy, not with support, but with shock at her behavior. Fine, the guest finally says. Fine, I don't need this. I don't need any of you. She storms toward the exit. Her heels click loudly on the studio floor. Every step echoes. Every step is captured on camera. Security follows at a distance, making sure she actually leaves. Lara watches her go, then turns back to face the audience. Well, she says, trying to lighten the grand mood. That was unexpected. A few people laugh nervously. The tension is still thick in the air. Lara sits back down in her chair, smoothing her dress, taking a breath. Sometimes, Lara continues, speaking directly to the camera now. Interviews don't go as planned, and that's okay. We're all human. But what's not okay is forgetting basic manners. What's not okay is coming onto someone's show and treating them with contempt. The audience starts to applaud, slowly at first, then louder. They're supporting Lara. They saw what happened. They know who was in the wrong. Lara smiles, a real smile this time. Thank you, but honestly, I'm just doing my job. And part of my job is making sure this show remains a place of respect for everyone. Guests, crew, audience, viewers at home. Everyone deserves respect. The applause grows louder. Lara has turned this disaster into a moment of integrity. She's shown grace under pressure. She's shown that she won't be pushed around. So, Lara says, checking her notes, let's move forward. We have an amazing show planned for you today. After the break, we're going to meet someone who's doing incredible work in their community. Someone who actually wants to share their story. Someone who understands what a conversation looks like. The camera cuts to a wide shot of the studio. The empty chair where the guest sat moments ago is a stark reminder of what just happened. But Lara is already moving on, already focusing on the next segment, already being the professional she's always been. In the control room, the producers are breathing again. That could have been so much worse. But Lara handled it. She kept her cool. She stood her ground. And most importantly, she protected the integrity of the show. The stage manager counts down. 5 seconds to commercial. 4, 3, 2, 1. The commercial break begins, but the studio is buzzing. Crew members are talking in hushed voices. The audience is sharing looks of disbelief. What they just witnessed will be talked about for days, weeks, maybe even years. Lara takes off her earpiece for a moment and closes her eyes. That was intense. That was difficult. But she did it. She faced down someone who came on her show with bad intentions, and she didn't back down. Her producer walks over. You okay? Lara nods. I'm fine. Is she gone? She's gone. Security made sure she left the building. Good, Lara says. Let's never book her again. The producer laughs. Trust me, that's not going to be a problem. Lara puts her earpiece back in and straightens her posture. The commercial break is almost over. Time to get back to work. Time to show everyone that one difficult guest won't derail the whole show. The cameras come back on. Lara's smile is bright and warm again. Welcome back to Good Morning America. Now, let's talk about something positive, something inspiring. Because that's what this show is really about. And just like that, the show continues. The drama is over. The confrontation is done. But the impact of what just happened will linger. People will talk about it. People will analyze it. People will take sides. But in this moment, Lara Spencer has proven something important. She's proven that grace and strength can coexist. That you can be kind without being a pushover. That you can be professional even when others are not. The next guest walks onto the set, nervous but excited. They've just seen what happened. They know the bar has been set for behavior, and they're determined to show that not all guests are difficult. Not all interviews end in disaster. Lara greets them warmly. Thank you so much for being here, and thank you for actually wanting to be here. The new guest laughs. Oh, I definitely want to be here. That was quite a way to start the show. It certainly was. Lara agrees. But that's live television for you. You never know what's going to happen. Now, tell me about the amazing work you're doing. And the interview begins. A real interview. A conversation between two people who respect each other. The way it should be, the way it usually is. Back in the control room, someone is already making calls. Legal needs to be informed. Public relations needs to prepare a statement. The network executives need to know what happened. This is going to be big news. But on the set, Lara is focused. She's engaged with her guest. She's asking thoughtful questions. She's listening to the answers. She's doing exactly what she's supposed to do, being a great host. The audience is relaxing now. The tension from earlier is fading. They're enjoying this new interview. They're reminded of why they love this show. Because when it works, when both people are participating in good faith, it's really wonderful. Lara wraps up the interview with her new guest. Thank you so much for sharing your story with us. What you're doing is truly incredible, and I know our viewers are inspired. The guest beams. Thank you for having me. This was exactly what I hoped it would be. They shake hands. The guest leaves the set, happy and satisfied. That's how it's supposed to go. That's the normal outcome. Lara turns to the camera one more time. We're going to take another quick break, but don't go anywhere. We have so much more coming up. The break happens. Lara stands and stretches. Her co-hosts come over to check on her. That was insane, one of them says. Are you really okay? I'm fine, Lara assures them. It was uncomfortable, but I'm fine. She came here looking for a fight, and I wasn't going to give her the satisfaction of losing my temper. You handled it perfectly, another co-host says. Seriously. You were professional the whole time. Thanks, Lara says. But let's hope that's the last time we have to deal with something like that. They all laugh, but there's an underlying seriousness to the comment. That kind of confrontation is stressful. It's exhausting, and it's not what any of them signed up for. The show continues through its remaining segments: cooking demonstrations, entertainment news, weather reports, all the usual components. By the end of the show, the earlier drama feels like it happened days ago, not hours. But as the final credits roll and the cameras turn off, everyone knows that the moment will live on. Clips will circulate online. Articles will be written. Think pieces will be published. The confrontation between Lara Spencer and her hostile guest will be dissected from every angle. Lara heads to her dressing room. She needs a few minutes to decompress before the inevitable meetings begin. She sits down, kicks off her heels, and lets out a long breath. Her phone is already blowing up with messages. Colleagues offering support, friends checking in, family members who watched and are concerned. She scrolls through them, appreciating the outpouring of care. There's a knock on the door. It's one of the senior producers. Hey, you have a minute? Sure, Lara says. Come in. The producer sits down. First of all, you were amazing out there. I mean it. The way you handled that situation was textbook. Thank you, Lara says. It didn't feel textbook in the moment. It never does. The producer agrees. But you stayed calm. You gave her multiple chances to correct course. And when she wouldn't, you stood your ground. That's exactly what you should have done. So what happens now? Lara asks. Now we deal with the fallout, the producer says honestly. The network is already preparing statements. Legal is reviewing the footage. And we're going to have a team meeting later to discuss protocols for situations like this. Situations like this shouldn't happen, Lara points out. You're right. They shouldn't. But when they do, we need to be prepared. And thanks to you, we have a great example of how to handle it with dignity. Lara nods. She's tired. She's emotionally drained, but she's also proud. She didn't let herself be bullied. She didn't compromise her values. She did her job, even when it was incredibly difficult. The producer stands to leave. Take the rest of the day if you need it. You've earned it. I might just do that, Lara says. As the door closes, Lara looks at herself in the mirror. She sees a professional who faced an impossible situation and came out on the other side. She sees someone who refused to be diminished by someone else's bad behavior. She sees herself, still standing, still strong. And that, ultimately, is what matters most.